We're going to be talking about a special coin that was released in 2022, the United States Maya Angelou quarter dollar. This coin isn't just a piece of currency, it's a beautiful tribute to an American icon. And for the right collector, it could be worth a lot more than just 25 cents. So grab a seat, because you won't want to miss what we're about to reveal. In 2022, the U.S. Mint unveiled a series of coins to honor some of the most influential women in American history. Maya Angelou, a legendary poet, author, and civil rights activist, was one of the women selected to be featured on this series of quarters. She is celebrated for her incredible contributions to literature, social justice, and culture. The coin was designed to pay tribute to her lasting impact on American society. If you haven't seen it yet, you're in for a treat. The design of the Maya Angelou quarter is both elegant and symbolic. On the reverse side of the coin, we see a stunning portrait of Maya Angelou, accompanied by a beautiful depiction of a bird in flight. The bird represents freedom, resilience, and the power of one's voice, themes that resonate deeply with Angelou's life and work. The imagery is both powerful and graceful, capturing the essence of her contributions to American culture. It's not just a coin, it's a piece of art that speaks to the soul, making it incredibly special. But let's talk about why this coin is not just historically significant, but also valuable. Coins like the 2022 Maya Angelou quarter dollar were minted in large quantities, so at first glance, it might seem like it's just another regular quarter you could find in your change. However, the true value of any coin comes down to its rarity, condition, and the errors it might have during production. And this coin, like many others in the America the Beautiful series, has some factors that can make it stand out. First off, let's talk about condition. As with any coin, those that remain in pristine, uncirculated condition are far more valuable than coins that have been through heavy circulation. A coin that shows little to no signs of wear, with all of the fine details of the design still intact, is highly sought after by collectors. If you happen to find one of these Maya Angelou quarters in such exceptional condition, then you're already holding a rare and valuable piece of history. But that's not all. Error coins are where the real excitement begins. Minting errors are an important part of the world of numismatics, and they can turn an ordinary coin into something extraordinary. Imagine finding a Maya Angelou quarter with a misprint, such as doubled lettering or a misaligned die. These kinds of errors are relatively rare, and when they do occur, they significantly increase a coin's value. Collectors love error coins because they're unique, and sometimes, only a few of them exist in the entire mintage, making them highly coveted. Another potential error you might come across is a coin with an incorrect mint mark. Normally, a quarter will feature a D or S mint mark to indicate where it was produced. However, if you come across a 2022 Maya Angelou quarter without a mint mark or with an incorrect one, you may have just stumbled upon a valuable find. These coins are not only rare but also incredibly appealing to collectors who are looking for that special piece to complete their collection. So, what is the real value of this coin? If you manage to find a 2022 Maya Angelou quarter in flawless, uncirculated condition, or even better, if you come across one with a rare minting error, you could be holding something worth a small fortune. Believe it or not, this single coin could be worth as much as $75,000. Yes, you heard that correctly, $75,000 for a single quarter. Imagine the thrill of finding such a treasure, whether it's tucked away in your pocket change or hidden in an old jar of coins. For collectors, finding a coin like this is the kind of discovery that keeps them hunting for rare and valuable pieces to add to their collection. So, if you've got a stash of coins lying around, or if you happen to find a 2022 Maya Angelou quarter, take a moment to examine it closely. If it's in perfect condition or has an unusual error, you could be looking at a coin that might just be worth far more than its face value. The rarity and unique features of these coins make them highly desirable, and as time goes on, they're only going to become more valuable. For coin lovers and collectors, the 2022 Maya Angelou quarter is definitely a coin worth keeping an eye on. It's not just a tribute to an incredible woman, but also a potential treasure that could be worth thousands of dollars. So, remember, always check your change and keep an eye out for those rare finds. They could be more valuable than you ever imagined. Top 4, we're diving into a fascinating and valuable piece of American numismatic history, the 1973 Washington quarter dollar. This coin might seem like just another quarter, but let me tell you, there's far more to it than meets the eye. If you're a collector, or if you just have a keen interest in rare coins, you'll want to stick around for this one. Trust me, this 1973 Washington quarter could be worth much more than you'd ever expect. Let's explore why. First, let's take a quick look at the history behind the 1973 Washington Quarter. The Washington Quarter has been a staple of U.S. coinage since 1932, when it was first introduced to honor the first president of the United States, George Washington. The coin features his portrait on the obverse and the classic eagle design on the reverse, which was later replaced by the State Quarters series in the late 1990s. But the 1973 coin, like others minted in this era, stands out for its unique position in American history, especially in the context of the country's economy and numismatic trends during the early 1970s. The 1973 quarter was produced at a time when the United States was navigating through a period of inflation and economic change. The coin itself is made of 40% silver, a significant feature that makes it more desirable compared to later quarters that switched to a copper-nickel composition. While it might seem like just another coin you could come across in pocket change, the silver content in the 1973 Washington Quarter gives it a distinct edge in terms of value, especially to collectors who appreciate the coin's composition. But here's the catch. While the 1973 Quarter was minted in large numbers, the true value of these coins lies in their condition and any potential errors they might have. In general, most of the 1973 quarters were circulated widely, which means the vast majority of these coins show signs of wear. This is where things get exciting for collectors. Finding a coin in near-perfect or uncirculated condition is extremely rare. When you find a 1973 Washington Quarter in pristine condition, it instantly becomes a much more valuable piece. Now let's get into something even more thrilling: minting errors. This is where the real value comes into play for coin collectors. If you're lucky enough to find a 1973 quarter with a unique error, you could be holding something worth a small fortune. Errors like double strikes, where the coin is struck more than once, or misaligned dies, where the design is off-center, are highly sought after by numismatists. These errors can significantly increase the value of a coin, sometimes by several times its original worth. For example, a 1973 Washington quarter with a noticeable die crack or doubled lettering could be worth much more than one in perfect condition, simply because of its rarity and unique characteristic. Additionally, certain 1973 quarters were produced with small variations in their mint marks or other subtle design differences. These slight distinctions can make a significant impact on a coin's value. For example, a quarter from a specific minting facility, such as the San Francisco Mint with a S mint mark, could be worth more if it's found in the right condition or with a desirable feature. But here's where it gets really interesting for collectors. The value of the 1973 Washington quarter has been steadily increasing over the years. With fewer and fewer coins in uncirculated or pristine condition, and with an increasing demand for vintage coins, the price of these quarters continues to rise. As with many rare coins, time only makes them more valuable, and collectors who held onto these pieces of history are starting to see the financial benefits. So, just how much could one of these 1973 Washington quarters be worth? Well, depending on its condition, rarity, and any potential errors, a single 1973 quarter could fetch a pretty penny. If you happen to have one of these coins in near-perfect condition or with a rare error, you could be sitting on a coin worth as much as $71,000. That's right, $71,000 for a single 1973 Washington quarter. It's incredible to think that a coin from over 50 years ago could be worth so much, but that's the magic of coin collecting. Finding a coin like this, whether it's tucked away in your collection, buried in a drawer, or even mixed in with a bunch of other quarters, could lead to an exciting discovery. So, if you've got some old quarters lying around, it might be worth taking a closer look at them. You never know when you might find that rare gem hiding in plain sight. For coin collectors, the 1973 Washington quarter is a fantastic piece to have in your collection. Its historical significance, combined with its rarity and potential for errors, makes it a highly desirable coin for any serious collector. Whether you're a seasoned expert or just starting out, this coin is definitely one to keep an eye on. Top 5, we're diving into one of the most intriguing and valuable coins from U.S. history, the 1971 Washington quarter dollar. You might think a quarter is just a quarter, but this coin has some hidden secrets that make it stand out, especially for collectors. So get ready, because by the end of this video, you'll understand why the 1971 Washington quarter could be worth far more than you'd expect. Let's set the scene. The 1971 Washington quarter was minted during an interesting period in U.S. history. This coin came out right after the United States made the shift from a silver-based currency to a more copper-nickel mix for most of its coins. Prior to 1965, quarters were composed of 90% silver, but after that, the U.S. Mint began using a copper-nickel composition, and by 1971, the coin you see today was born. But the key to this coin's value lies not just in its composition, but in its condition and rarity. For most of us, the 1971 quarter might just look like any other coin we carry around in our pocket change, but for serious collectors, this coin is far from ordinary. Over the years, many of these coins were circulated heavily, which means most of them show wear and tear from daily use. But here's where it gets interesting. Finding a 1971 quarter in excellent, uncirculated condition is a rare discovery. The fewer the signs of wear, the more valuable the coin becomes. In fact, collectors are constantly on the lookout for these rare, well-preserved coins because they stand out in a world filled with circulated quarters. Now, let's talk about one of the most exciting aspects of coin collecting: minting errors. This is where a lot of the thrill comes in for numismatists. Imagine coming across a 1971 Washington quarter with a flaw in the design. Minting errors happen when the coin is struck incorrectly, and they can vary from small, barely noticeable issues to large, obvious mistakes. For example, a 1971 quarter with a misaligned die or a double strike could make that coin far more valuable than the average one. Even slight variations in the way the coin was produced can increase its worth. These minting errors are what make the 1971 Washington quarter truly exciting for collectors and could be a major factor in determining its value. Let's not forget about other factors that make this coin special. The Washington quarter features a timeless design with George Washington's portrait on the obverse and an eagle on the reverse. These familiar features are classic and beloved by collectors. But there are other nuances to the coin's production that can make it even more interesting. For instance, some 1971 quarters have a slightly different finish or features that set them apart from others. These subtle differences might not seem significant at first glance, but they could be the key to unlocking a coin's hidden value. So, what makes a 1971 Washington quarter truly valuable? Well, it all comes down to a combination of factors: condition, rarity, and any unique minting errors or variations. When you combine these elements, you get a coin that is both historically significant and financially valuable. If you're lucky enough to come across a 1971 Washington quarter that is in pristine condition, or even better, has a rare minting error, you could be looking at a coin that is worth far more than its face value. You might be wondering just how much a 1971 Washington quarter could be worth. If it's in top-notch condition or features an error, it could be worth a substantial amount to collectors. In fact, depending on the rarity of the coin and the state of preservation, a single 1971 Washington quarter could fetch as much as $67,000. Yes, you heard that right, $67,000 for just one quarter. This might sound unbelievable, but it's the reality of the coin market. Coins like the 1971 Washington quarter, especially those that have been carefully preserved or have rare minting errors, can fetch eye-popping prices. If you have one of these quarters in your collection or even happen to stumble upon one in your spare change, it could turn out to be an amazing discovery for collectors. The 1971 Washington quarter is a prime example of why it's so important to examine every coin you come across. Coins that are overlooked or dismissed as ordinary can sometimes turn out to be incredibly valuable, especially when they are in exceptional condition or feature an error. So, next time you're going through your change or hunting for rare finds, keep an eye out for this particular quarter. You never know, you could be holding a small treasure that's worth far more than its face value. I hope this video has sparked your interest in the 1971 Washington quarter and helped you understand why it's so special in the world of coin collecting. If you enjoyed the video and want to learn more about rare and valuable coins, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you're always up to date with our latest discoveries. Keep looking for those rare treasures, and good luck.